That thesis was is that it was about the idea that what we call choice might be a story that consciousness just tells itself after the choice
Mm,
has already been made.
right.
And by extension, if that's the case, then the only real freedom that you can conceive of would be in seeing through the whole illusion of freedom of choosing. It's kind of loopy and confusing, but I wanted to explore that a little bit. I've had these kind of encounters, like little debates with people before, where one of my ways of thinking about it is that I don't really see exactly where and how we're making a choice. So I would even make people, I'll just do it with you. Name a music band.
Okay. Linkin Park.
Linkin Park. How did you choose that band?
It was just because that was one of my, again, this is one of my favorite, right? So I like them so much, then that it just right away pops with my head. Like, and
Exactly.
I could have named so many different other ones,
Yeah,
but
they're
that's the first one that, so that's been dictated, right? Like the history of my memory of what my music taste or what I like in music or how that also because I like Linkin Park because I was exposed to them very early on. That's
yeah.
why they had such an impact, right? It could have been any other band, but just at
So
that
it's the
time and
most
space,
prevalent
right?
answer essentially, right? It's the
Right.
one that made most impact, but it's how does it work, right? How did you come up with Linkin Park? There wasn't a moment where, at least consciously, there was. You didn't go into the catalog of all the possible bands that you listened to, which at this point has been thousands,
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, Linkin Park. Like, how do you make that choice, right? You don't. It just came up,
Right.
and you
And
said it.
that's been informed by your memories, right? Of what you have
Who
experienced.
knows by what? It could be anything, because it just comes up. Sometimes that's what that's what's fascinating to watch. Like when you're trying to create something, where you're being a creative person, sometimes the idea comes to mind, or you're writing something, or you're coming up something, and sometimes I just like, where does it come from? How does it form into this thing? And then why do I even find it meaningful after that? Because sometimes, like, I would be writing a poem and they're so abstract, some of the lines that I compose, that I'm not sure if they even make any sense, like if somebody tries to read them. But when I put those words together, which, like, it almost doesn't make sense, right? Like the sentence that is like something, it's kind of like if you just say the sentence on its own, it won't mean anything. But combined together, a few lines as a little 4 lines of a poem, there is a meaning kind of gleans through the lines. Like it's something else, essentially. A meaning hides behind the apparent meaning of words. And I start thinking, like, how do these words come together? Where do they come from? Why those specific words, Because it's something inside of you that is making some kind of choice or decision or comes up with something. But what that something is, like I can't just call it I, because I don't know what it is. It just comes from somewhere up there, and then just this mouth says it, and then that's it. Like at no point can I say, this is how I made the choice and this is how I made it in terms of what the process is like. I don't know what the process is, and I don't think
Yes.
anybody knows.
I think that we're very much, our subconscious dictates a lot of things for us, and we're just kind of along for the ride, you know? Our conscious mind are trying to make sense of all this, but really subconsciously, you're just processing all this stuff, and that does come to you.